Well, thanks for coming in with Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. In our last chapter or last session, we learnt from Proverbs 22:7 that it's not good to let people stand over you psychologically. And we tend to submit to people that we're frightened we're going to lose in relationships. And we shouldn't do that. We should be on equal terms. And we always feel like the borrower in a relationship that's out of order, rather than the lender. And again, a dysfunctional relationship will always make you feel like you owe something to that person. You'll always be digging deeper. You'll always be trying harder, and that person might be going in the opposite direction. So you have to comprehend what's going on. You cannot be underneath the person that you're in a relationship with. You have to be on equal terms. Because people in their sinful nature, they'll lead you where? They'll walk you down a thorny, treacherous road where the simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. That's what happens when you allow somebody to stand over you. But if you level out the relationship, level all the stuff out, if they don't want to do that, you get out. If people don't want to level up, see, the narcissist looks for, or the sinful nature person looks for, the road of least resistance. And that is not going to solve anything. It's just making it easier for the person to cover up what the problem is. We go to verse 8 of Proverbs 22. Those who plant injustice will harvest disaster, and their reign of terror will come to an end. And this could, man, if this ain't a dysfunctional relationship, goodness gracious, those who plant injustice will harvest disaster. It brings me to covert emotional enmeshment, incest, because you'll find that the flying monkeys, the toxic family members, the people that are psychologically collapsing because lights come into the family, they'll throw everything at you that they possibly can. They're going to make a disaster if you let them of your relationship. They're going to make a complete disaster of it. That's what they do. And they'll plant lies, they'll plant thoughts, they'll plant doubts, they'll plant corruption, they'll plant character defamations, they'll psychologically abuse. Your partner will be under such an assault behind the scenes. I have had ex-wives' children find out who I'm seeing and go and see them. I don't know what they were saying, because they caused all the trouble. The last one, the one that did all this, she was having an affair behind her husband's back, which we don't stand for here. We don't stand for that rubbish. She didn't like it, so she created a vendetta. The mafia would have buried her. Lucky we're Christians here. You don't do that. You don't try and justify yourself by ruining people's lives when you're ruining your own. And that's the sort of injustice that these people sow. Those who plan injustice will harvest disaster. Guess what? She ended up in disaster. She ruined her mother's marriage with me. She had terrible trouble in her own marriage by her own behaviour. She had a brand new car, beautiful car. She destroyed it in front of everybody, just neglected it. She didn't want the car. She wanted a different car. So she deliberately ruined the car so she could get the car she wanted. And these cars were unbreakable. Absolutely unbreakable. Beautiful diesel. Oh, no. I've watched these people plant injustice, and I've watched them reap their harvest of disaster, and believe me, it's not funny. Listen to me. It's disastrous. They become sick, ill. They end up with people that really do abuse them and ruin them. They get diseases, sexual diseases, and their children become warped because they've lived a warped lifestyle. They've watched their mother and father fighting and all the rest of it. And their reign of terror comes to an end. That's why when the sinful nature starts to manifest in my relationships, and you've got triangulation and flying monkeys trying to wreck everything, and there's bananas flying everywhere, and they're plots, and they're waiting for me to fall. They're waiting for me to do something that's going to allow them to go, we've got him. Well, it hasn't happened yet, and it's not going to happen. That's why I stay on my game. That's why I stay close to the Lord. The sinful nature and the cronies of darkness, they want to take you out. They want to ruin everything you've got. And I've watched it time and time again. I've just had them ruin another relationship. Just the powers of darkness. I just stand and watch now and go, oh, no. And unfortunately, these people that end up listening to the flying monkeys, the people that plan injustice and just try and ruin everything that they're jealous of and can't stand and they're conceited about, and to try and get control back over the person that you're with, they end up in disaster, psychological disaster, financial disaster, spiritual disaster, health, physical health disaster, emotionally needing help at psychologists and psychiatrists, and they're suicidal, and they want to cut themselves, and they want to hurt themselves, and they are addicted to masturbation and all these self-deprivating addictions, and they're on addictions, and they're alcoholics, and they smoke their heads off, they're nicotine addicts, and you'll see them picking up the butts outside the casualty doorways at the hospital around where all the people smoke. They'll get the butts and light up the butts, get a couple of drags out of it, and it's a place of disease. These are the flying monkeys, and it ends up not good. You don't mess with people of light that are bringing good. When somebody's bringing good, why would you want to turn it into a disaster? We reap what we sow. If you plant injustice, you will be treated unjustly. Do you understand? We reap what we sow. If you're trying to destroy someone that's bringing good and being good, no. You forget that they've got family members as well that are watching and trying to understand why all this is happening. This is like, it's sad how they come to an end because they run into the wrong people. We're gracious people. I just walked away. I just not going to engage it. Then when apparently it was all my fault, I finished the relationship as well. What else are you supposed to do? How else are you supposed to deal with it? You can't just let it go on and on and on. You're human too. And so they do. They end up in terror. They end up in their own terror. And they come to an end. Hopefully an end where they realize that this ain't the way to live. This ain't the way to be. This ain't what you do. This ain't how you treat people. We just missed an opportunity for our mother to be blessed. What they forget is if the mother's blessed, they're blessed. If you cause a disaster for your parents, you're cursed, the Bible says. You're cursed. You don't want to interfere in adult business, private business. But unfortunately, a lot of mothers allow it. They surrogate their sons. They surrogate their children. And the next thing they're interfering in everything. The next thing they don't like someone, they start planting psychological seeds of undermining and backbiting and cursing against a new partner. And that's okay, I suppose. If the person's bad, they've probably seen enough badness to last a lifetime. But if someone of the light comes in and they start messing with that, and they're undoing an opportunity for everybody to be able to get put on the path of light, right, of justice, where the harvest is joy, peace and happiness and life and honour, you start playing with that and you end up in terror. Your reign of terror comes upon you. It all comes back to you through other people. They get rid of the light and then they bring in people of darkness, and the next thing you know, they're being robbed, assaulted, bashed up by the new boyfriend. The mother doesn't know if she's coming or going. But a lot of people like the toxicity. They love the toxicity. They love the drama. They love the trouble. They say they like peace, but all they do is cause trouble. And it all ends up in a disaster. A complete and total disaster. Those who plant injustice, those who sow words of betrayal and doubt and backbiting and undermining and psychological abuse towards people that don't deserve it, they are going to have a harvest of disaster, and it will bring them to their knees. It will put them so far down onto their knees they'll have to make a decision. And this is where the black sheep and other people that can come out of families and they go, I'm not living like this anymore. I'm getting out of here. I'm tired of the disasters. I'm tired of everything coming to an end. I'm tired of this reign of terror that we're trying to create, and it doesn't work. I'm Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. Are you learning anything? I hope so. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.